I just spent like 10 minutes chasing a fly out of my windows just so that I could film this. So don't ever say that I don't put effort into my videos. I really do. Hey everyone, it's Catherine. I've been receiving the best feedback from you all on my college videos, which is great because I love to make them, so keep leaving that feedback or videos you want to see from me down there. Your feedback is what made this video a thing. I decided I get a ton, and you guys aren't shy about it, a ton of inbox questions on my Tumblr about college, what you're worried about, what you have questions on, advice, a ton of just general anxiety and worrying, which I get. I had the same thing. That's why I went on a YouTube binge before my college time, and you can do that too down below. So I asked for your questions on Tumblr and on my vlog channel if you want to go check those out and ask me further questions. Here are some of the ones that really encapsulate what you don't know about college. First question I'm gonna take. Was your first day of college as nerve-wracking as you expected / envisioned it to be? So I had a little bit of a weird situation. Your first day of college, actually for most of you, isn't going to be actual class. It's going to be welcome week or some sort of like incoming students events or something to get to know your fellow freshmen or hopefully your fellow transfers if you're in that camp of people. So your first day of college is when you move in, essentially. And that was weird for me because I was doing marching band camp, so I wasn't actually around most other people. I moved in without anyone else moving into my building pretty much. So mine was really weird, but at the same time, I still had those same nervous feelings you're gonna have getting to college about not knowing who I'm gonna meet and how I'm gonna, settle into my rhythm and everything. I would say it's like pretty healthy to be nervous about your first day, but at the same time, when you're there, don't feel a ton of pressure to make everything happen on the first day. You're gonna have a couple weeks to really get settled in, but it's totally fine if you're a little bit jittery about it. Next question, how is living with your suite mates freshman year a little different than living with just a roommate? From what I understand, most colleges just have one long floor on your hall with a bunch of individual rooms, just 2 roommates per. And not all dorm arrangements are like that. Some of them are suite style like mine, so instead of individual rooms, they break off into suites where you have like clumps of 4 rooms. And it's a little bit different because you really don't enter all of the suites on your floor like you would enter all the rooms on your floor. Like every other building on USC's campus, when it was just that sort of residential hall style with individual rooms, everyone would leave their doors open and you pretty much got to know all, 20, 30 people on your floor. But in suites, this might have been a unique experience for me, but I really only got to know the 8 people in my suite. It wasn't really a thing to like go out on your floor. So it's a little bit more closed off, but if you only want to have like 8 friends, it's perfect. Next, what do you regret the most about doing / not doing freshman year? I would say I was pretty deliberate about my freshman year. I really knew what I wanted to join and what I wanted to be involved in, and I think most freshmen after the freshman year regret not joining more things. So I don't have a ton of regrets about my freshman year. My first semester, I definitely didn't do as well academically as I thought, but I did go into office hours and I did get to know my professors, so I really don't have any regrets. It was just kind of on me the way my grades turned out, just, that adjustment period. But I would say I regret like beating myself up as much for my grades my freshman year. I really did feel pretty bad at the first semester, and I did better the second semester, so I was really proud about that. But my grades really have evened out as I've gone through college, so I can confidently say I don't have any regrets, at least for my freshman year. Next question leads from that, and it says, do you have much free time to do other things during your freshman year besides your classes? And of course, you're not going to be taking 40 hours of class a week. That's just not even possible at colleges, and if it is, you'd have to pay a lot over the regular tuition. So realistically, you're going to be taking somewhere between 15 to 20 hours of class, 20 being extremely high end. I never take more than 18 a week, which could turn out to be just 2 days of classes a week. So you have a lot of free time, and that can be either a good or bad thing. It can mean you can get pretty complacent about your time and not really deliberately focus it on something, but it also means that you have a lot of time to get involved in extracurriculars. So that's what I did. So because I was in a host of extracurriculars, which you can all find in my video about how to get involved in college, I did get to a kind of burnout stage with the really low level of free time I had. In February, it all kind of collapsed into each other. I really had no time for myself. So always make sure you're saving yourself some mental health time, some you time, some time to focus on your well-being and how you're doing, and some time to reflect on your current state of affairs. Don't drown yourself in work, but you do have a lot of free time, so make sure you're spending that effectively and not just kind of lazing around. At least spend it with some friends, or you could have a professor to mentor you, something to take up some time in your hours that you're not in class. Do you have to know how to play an instrument to be in the marching band? No, you do not. I wish more people joined the marching band from this like incoming class at USC. Like, I don't know why everyone doesn't just join the marching band. It's the funniest, wittiest, most playful group of people you'll ever meet. And at USC, you don't have to have any musical or marching experience. I didn't have marching experience, but I did have musical experience. And I was pretty much in the minority for my incoming trumpet class. Really, no one else knew how to play the trumpet. Really consider it. It's a great way to invest your time. It really creates a lot of discipline, but fun in your life. So if you're watching this and you haven't joined the USC marching band yet, send them an email. It's not too late, I promise you, and then you'll be able to meet me at band camp. What would you change about USC? And I love USC. It's the best decision of my life so far, for sure, coming this university. What I would change is I would have buildings be open later on the weekends. On the weekends, there's only essentially like 2 libraries open, and I wish more libraries or more buildings were open because sometimes you just do your best work in a certain environment. So I wish those were staffed a little bit more heavily on the weekends. And other than that, I probably would just change the tuition to be like free. That'd be great. But obviously that's not happening because Bernie's not our president. Another USC specific question, what makes USC stand out from other institutions? And USC stands out a lot, mainly because it's always developing, it's always growing. We just added a brand new dance school, so there's a whole dance program now, and that totals our individual programs to 19. So you can study in the School of Communication and Journalism, in business, and engineering, and architecture, and drama, and cinema, and gerontology, and occupational therapy. Like, we have the most well-rounded group of majors. And because we are a private school, if you come in undecided, you have all of those options to try out. So it really is comfortable going to USC, whether you're super set in what you want to do or whether you don't know what you want to do, because you're also in every single one of those programs day one. So you're not gonna have to wait 2 years to even apply to the business school. I'm in the business school day one, I'm taking classes, and that way I can figure out in a semester or two if this is something I wanna continue or if it's a major I wanna change into, say, public policy or economics or something like that. I think all of you have done a ton of work to apply to college, and I really don't think you're gonna wanna apply to the school within the college after. So USC is a great option if you really just wanna try out the program, and that's actually what allows you to graduate and double major and study abroad more easily because you get to take all those classes your freshman, sophomore year, and then you have more room junior, senior year to develop yourself with internships and research and such. I'm gonna close out this video with more application-based questions. So if you're not an incoming college student, you're still in the applying stages, these are more questions that you brought up. This one says, okay, this is more about admissions and actual college life, but did you have any insecurities / was there anything that made you doubt yourself while applying to colleges? And I worked really hard in high school to make sure that I didn't have anything to be really insecure about. I wanted to make sure I had like the top test scores and like the best GPA I could and like really continue my extracurriculars so that I had like the full range of options. My main insecurity was my number of APs. I did take 7 APs in high school, which is a lot more than like my peers at USC may have taken or a lot fewer than others have taken. But at my high school, a lot of people took like 9 or 10. So I felt like I was a little bit on the leaner, weaker side on the AP spectrum. And mainly my insecurity was my GPA. I had an unweighted 4.0, so I was like good on that front. I was really proud of myself on how much work I put into that. But my weighted side was lower because I had taken jazz band for 2 years and band for 4 years and courses and classes that weren't weighted. Because I really was passionate about music and taking those courses that weren't weighted, it actually did bring down my weighted GPA. Because I was a TA, it brought down my weighted GPA, which is a little bit hurtful because like doing things you're passionate about might actually hurt your chances at college admission. But at this point, I don't have any regrets because I'm really glad I took those unweighted classes, but it might have meant that I didn't kind of qualify for some more elite schools, but it doesn't really matter because now I'm at the place I know I should be. What are the best resources for getting student opinions of the school and figuring out what they don't tell you on the tour? So I am a tour guide. I can tell you that I will tell you whatever you want about the school, and like I will provide my most honest opinion ever. So if you hang around after the tour and just ask the tour guide any questions you want, if it's more of like a one-on-one situation, they're more comfortable just providing like individual advice to you. But also tour guides don't want to be negative because they really want to encourage you to go there, and I don't have a lot of negative things to talk about in the first place. It might help to just go up to random students eating in the quad or eating in the campus center and just ask them, like, you're a prospective student, you're just wanting to know kind of how they like their situation, education, you always want to be talking to someone that has a similar experience to you, whether they're in your major or they're from a similar area or they're interested in a certain program. So you can always ask the tour guide if they have any friends they can refer you to talk about that, or you can just find someone in the general public area of campus that can talk to you about that. And it'll also give you a clue into whether students are more reserved there or more outgoing or more, quiet, that sort of deal. There isn't a lot you can do outside the tour to get a hugely realistic view of what campus life is like, because you're just not going to be able to sleep there overnight and such. What are the pros and cons of public and private schools? So that was my main decision when I finished my application season. I was choosing between whether I wanted to attend USC or whether I wanted to be up at Cal Berkeley in NorCal. And at Berkeley, the tuition would have been a lot cheaper, and that was the big thing to get over. That's what I really was considering. And at USC, the tuition obviously was in its negative side. It's really, really expensive to go to a private school. I'm gonna try to provide you with a non-biased look at it, but obviously I'm biased because I went one way over the other. But at a public school, you're not gonna get the individualized advising. My friends at public schools have a lot more difficulty with registration. Registration is still kind of a difficulty anywhere because you're on your own doing it for the most part. But public schools, registration can be tough. Grad rates tend to be extended after the 4 years, such as at UCLA, they call their seniors 4th or 5th years. You don't really have oh, I'm a junior, I'm a senior, because people end up taking 4 or 5 years, and it's pretty natural. So think about that. It might take you longer to graduate versus at a private school. At least for me, it feels more like a community. It feels like more of a family. There are just more resources put into really maintaining that at campus atmosphere, campus vibe. I don't have a ton of pros and cons. It's really just the money thing based on if you want to get individualized attention or if you want to get more of a fight for yourself sort of atmosphere. This question is really, really important. It says, how do you balance considering the quality of life at the college versus the quality of education? And I can safely say that I applied to 0 Ivies. Was I competitive or in the caliber of having the stats to apply to an Ivy? Maybe. Maybe. I maybe would have gotten in. I have no idea because I just didn't even want to be at those kind of schools, just because I went to a rigorous high school and I knew how to challenge myself. I didn't need the academic environment to challenge me because I knew I'd find that competitive niche anywhere. And so what it really does come down to is if you want to have a healthy college experience, it's so important to have a healthy environment and to not get wrapped up in your own thoughts and your own insecurities and your own self-doubts. So I really would prioritize quality of life maybe over quality of education, because I seriously firmly believe that you can get a good education anywhere, especially if you develop relationships with your professors, if you do research, if you intern, you can get a really good college experience anywhere. But the quality of life is what keeps you at the school, what keeps you motivated to keep trying, what keeps you grounded, what keeps you happy. And if you're not any of those things and really not having a good time at college, I don't think your education is going to do as much for you as you thought. You really want to put as much of yourself into your school as possible. And that has to come from both a social environment side and also a academic rigor side. So really consider that. Are you going to be happy not just because of the title of the school, but because of the community, the family, the type of student at the school? If you don't have any video requests for me to leave in the comments down below, you can continue watching my videos via my college binge playlist that I'll have linked here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time, and Katherout.